Now, uncertainty over house prices has had an unintended consequence. The reluctant landlord has stepped into the marketplace. We're talking about homeowners forced to rent out a room or even their entire home and move back in with their parents, as Enda Brady reports.
Jonathan McLaren was determined to get onto the property ladder, but when he reached the first step in London, he found that the monthly payments were crippling his finances.
I found that it was becoming progressively harder to service the mortgage and kind of the interest payments each month, and therefore took kind of the approach from a financial standpoint that it would be more economically viable to go back home.
Thank you, darling.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Excellent, that's okay.
Living back home with his parents may be more comfortable, but it has its drawbacks.
You know, for instance, around here you have to drive everywhere. You know, it's 33 miles to the city from here, but you obviously have to drive everywhere. So that is a big negative.
More and more people are doing what Mark Underwood did when his sister moved out of their flat. He's renting a room to a friend.
Ideally, we wouldn't rent the other room out. My sister would live with her boyfriend and I'd live with my girlfriend, but it's not a problem at the moment. But, you know, I'm 27, I don't want to be living with my girlfriend and another person for the rest of my life. I want to be able to sort of live just with her, as does my sister. So it's all right for the time being, but it's more of a stopgap than anything else.
Property experts say the rise of the reluctant landlord is a direct result of economic uncertainty. But many of these new landlords are unaware of the rules and the potential pitfalls.
I think the key thing is that only 15% of landlords actually have had no problems at all with their tenants. Now, that obviously means that 85% of people are actually finding some sort of problem. And clearly that's a big issue, because that usually involves expense and trouble to sort out.
It may not be an ideal situation for those involved, but neither is the alternative. Enda Brady, Sky News.
Let's talk to the former president of the National Association of Estate Agents, that is Trevor Kent. Trevor, hi.
Hello.
Is it something you're familiar with, this happening?
Oh, absolutely, yes. It's a very worrying situation.
What is the biggest pitfall for people who are thinking they need some money either to pay off the mortgage, pay off debts, or have some income? What is the biggest warning that you would give to people?
Well, I'd say be very, very careful. Obviously, the bank's now in a situation where they're not lending in a profligate manner as they were. So if the bank is going to say, yes, we'll help you, at least you hope they take out some references and they're satisfied that you can make the repayments. But I believe repossessions are likely to go up quite dramatically in the next 6 months. And unfortunately, talking about rentals, there's a lot more rental problem as well, people unable to pay their rent. So the property market's in a bit of a state of flux at the moment.
And do you think it will start evening out again when property starts moving more consistently again? I know we've seen rises over the past few months, but we haven't seen a recovery yet, have we? And until that happens, then people will feel a bit more comfortable about their mortgage and paying it off.
Yes, not only will people feel comfortable, but the lenders will feel comfortable. One of the reasons that the lenders will only give you 75% of the purchase price is because they're not sure whether their investment is safe. If the properties go down further, then they are at risk. So the moment prices start to creep up, and I believe they're going to in the next year to 18 months, then the lenders will immediately say, right, we're safer. Now we can lend 85%, maybe even 90% again, because they know they'll get their money back if the borrower fails to make the repayments.
In terms of renting out a property, I mean, unless you've got several properties, which most of us don't, do people do it to make money, to make a profit, or is it to make ends meet?
The landlords that are what we call amateur landlords, that maybe have just bought 1 or 2 properties, they were seduced by the fact they could borrow the money for virtually nothing. Right. They could get 100% of the purchase price 3 years ago. They saw the rent that they were getting in was more than paying their mortgage, and the value of the house was going up. They rubbed their hands and said, this is fantastic. Now, of course, they've got a number of problems. They've got the likelihood of interest rates going up soon, so it's going to be more expensive to service their loan. Their getting tenants who sometimes are failing to make the repayments, so then they can't service the loan either. And the third sum to them is that unfortunately the price of the property they bought has slipped a little as well.
Very interesting. Trevor, thanks for talking to us. Trevor Kent there, thank you.